Rome, a city built on blood, tradition, and the iron will of men who dared to challenge the gods themselves for a place in history. But among the elite, one name began to echo louder than the rest. A name that would become synonymous with both glory. He was a strategist who saw the world as a map waiting to be rewritten by his hand. To conquer the world, he first had to conquer the wild frontiers of Gaul, where the weather was as brutal as the warriors he faced. Caesar forged his army into an unstoppable machine, bound to him by loyalty that transcended their devotion to Rome itself. Success brought power, but power brought enemies. The Senate watched with growing fear as the general's influence threatened the very foundations of the Republic. The command came: disband the army, or be declared an enemy of the state. Caesar's response would change the course of Western civilization. Alea jacta est. The die was cast. By crossing that small stream, Caesar declared war on his own home, igniting a fire of civil conflict. He entered Rome not as a returning servant, but as a conqueror. The streets were filled with the roar of the masses. Caesar was declared dictator for life. He sat at the peak of the world, surrounded by the ghosts of his rivals. But the crown he never quite wore became a target. In the shadows of the Curia, a conspiracy was taking shape, fueled by envy and idealism. Friends and allies, men who had benefited from his rise, now clutched daggers beneath their robes, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The Ides of March arrived under a pale, ominous sun. Caesar walked toward his destiny, ignored the warnings of seers and the pleas of his wife. As he entered the chamber, the senators closed in, a ring of steel tightening around the man who would be king. The second, a betrayal. Caesar looked into the eyes of Brutus and realized that his vision for Rome ended here. 23 wounds, one for every year of his rise, or perhaps one for every friend who turned into a murderer in the name of liberty. The silence that followed was deafening. The conspirators fled, leaving behind a body that once commanded the known world. They sought to save the Republic, but they only succeeded in birthing an empire. Caesar's death was the final act of an old world. His name would live on as a title, a legend, and a warning to all who seek to hold the world in their palm. Julius Caesar, the man who became a god, and the god who died a man. Rome would never be the same again.